Okay, kids, this is an old fairy tale. You can see by the way the book is that it's been really well read and well loved in our house. But the name of this is Rumplestilskin. Rumplestilskin. Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. One day, the king stopped at the miller's house to get water for his horse. The miller wanted to impress the king, so he said, "I have a beautiful daughter." "There are many beautiful girls in my kingdom," said the king. "But my daughter can spin straw into gold," boasted the miller. "Gold," said the king. "Gold," said the miller. "Well," said the king, "bring your daughter to my palace tomorrow." Oopsie. There we go. So, the miller's daughter was brought to the king. The king took her to a room in the attic. In the room were a spinning wheel, a chair, and a pile of straw. "By tomorrow you must spin the straw into gold," said the king. "If you do not, you will die." Then he locked the door and left. "What am I going to do?" cried the girl. "I can't spin straw into gold." Suddenly, the door opened and an odd little man hopped into the room. He wore a green cap with a tassel of bells. "Good evening, miller's daughter," said the man. "Why are you crying?" "I must spin this straw into gold or lose my life," sobbed the girl. The little man rubbed his chin. "What will you give me if I do it for you?" he asked. "My necklace," said the girl. The little man took the necklace. Then he sat down at the wheel and put the straw into the reel. Whir, 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 he spun and spun and spun, and suddenly the dusty room was filled with glittering gold. The little man hopped up and left as quickly as he had come. At daybreak, the king returned. When he saw the gold, he said, "This is wonderful, but I need more gold than that." He took the girl to a larger room and said, "By tomorrow you must spin this straw into gold, otherwise you will die." Then he locked the door and left. The girl stared at all the straw. "I cannot do it," she said, and so she began to cry. Suddenly the door opened and the little man hopped in. "Good evening, miller's daughter," he said. "What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold?" "The ring on my finger?" asked the girl. The little man grabbed the ring. He sat down before the wheel and put the straw into the reel. Whir, whir, whir. He spun and spun and spun, and soon the room twinkled with glittering gold. The little man hopped up and left. When the king came, he rejoiced at the sight, but he still wasn't satisfied. He took the girl into an enormous room filled with straw. "You must spin this straw into gold by morning," said the king. "If you succeed, you shall be my wife." When the little girl was alone, the man came for the third time. He said, "What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold?" "I gave you my necklace and my ring," cried the girl. "I have nothing left to give you." "Don't cry, miller's daughter," said the little man. "There is one thing you can give me." "Anything," begged the girl. "If you become queen," he said, "promise you will give me your first child." "Who knows if I will become queen," thought the girl, "and even if I do, who knows if I will even have a child?" So she said, "Yes, I promised." The man sat down before the wheel and put some straw into the reel. Whir, whir, whir. He spun and spun and spun all night. When the sun came up and spilled through the window, the miller's daughter gasped. The enormous room flashed with heaps of gold. The little man hopped up and left. When the king saw the gold, he said, "We shall be married this very day." So the miller's beautiful daughter became the queen. A year later, the queen brought a beautiful child into the world. She forgot all about the little man and the promise she had made. But one day, the little man appeared. "Give me what you promised," he said. "Give me your baby." "I cannot give you my baby," cried the queen. "You promised me your first child," said the little man. "Here," the queen said, "take my jewels." "I don't want your jewels," said the man. "Take anything you want," begged the queen. "Take all the riches in my kingdom, but please don't take my child." The little man hopped up and down and shouted, "A baby is more precious to me than all the treasures in the world." The queen looked so unhappy that the little man felt sorry for her. "I will give you 3 days," he said. "If you find out my name, you may keep your child. I will come each evening for 3 days to ask if you know my name." That night the queen could not sleep. The next morning she called a messenger and said, "Find out the names of all the people in my kingdom, then come back and tell them to me." That evening the little man hopped into the queen's chamber. "Good evening, queen," he said. "What is my name?" The queen thought of all the names the messenger had told her. "Is it Tom?" she asked. "No." "Dick?" "No." "Harry?" "No, no, no." "Billy?" "No." "Is it David?" "No." "Ezra?" "Jerry?" The little man laughed. "That is not my name." On the second day, the queen called for her messenger. "Go out again," she said. "Find more names. You must find more names." That night, the little man appeared for the second time. He said, "Good evening, queen. What is my name?" "Is it Casper?" the queen asked. "No." "Melicor?" "No." "Balthazar?" "No, that is not my name," said the little man. "Is it Jasper? Jupiter? Lucifer? Methuselah?" "No." The little man laughed. "That is not my name." On the third day, the queen called for her messenger one last time. "Please," she pleaded, "find me new names. Hurry." When the messenger returned, he said, "I have searched far and wide, but I have not found a single new name." "Not one?" asked the queen. "Not one. But as I climbed on a high mountain at the end of the forest, I saw the most peculiar thing." "What did you see?" asked the queen. "I saw a little house, and in front of the house a fire was burning. And around the fire I saw a ridiculous little man hopping on one leg and singing." "What did he sing?" the queen asked eagerly. "This," said the messenger. "Tonight I drink and dance and bake. Tomorrow the queen's own child I take. The queen will never win this game, for Rumplestilskin is my name." The queen was so happy to hear the name. She thanked the messenger and waited for the little man one last time. "Good evening, queen," he said. "What is my name?" "Is it Ringo?" she asked. "No." "Bingo?" "No." "Lester?" "No." "Chester?" "No, no, that is not my name," the little man laughed. "Is it Grover?" "No." "Rover?" "No." "Well," said the queen, "perhaps your name is Rumplestilskin." The little man flew into a rage, shrieking, "The devil told you that! The devil told you that!" He hopped about furiously. He stomped his foot so hard it made a deep hole in the floor and his right leg disappeared. "The devil told you that!" he shrieked again and stamped his other foot. He stamped so hard that he made another hole and his left leg disappeared. Then he vanished into the earth and was never seen again. The end.